I've always had a thing for luxury since a young age, as far back as I can remember. Some of the earliest moments I can remember was coming to my grandma's house and he had options of cereal. Like you can get, I started noticing that there was options. When we first got here, it was like you could pick more than one cereal. There's different options to eat every day. And it was different. So it was interesting to me. So I'm like, oh, I started understanding that options were a privilege. The church that we went to, they used to have bus trips where they go out to Reading. It was all these shops, like outlet shops. And I can remember walking past the window, looking in the window, and I seen these watches. And I tapped my aunt, I'm like, what kind of watch is that? And she was like, oh no, baby, those watches are for people that got money. And it was a Movado. Now I see that they're not that expensive, but at the time it was just like, wow. She was like, keep walking. So that always stuck to me. I'm like, one day I'm gonna be able to go in any store I want and get and pick out stuff that's like whatever I want. I remember another time I was with another one of my aunts, and we went in the store and I saw these cars, these toy cars. It was a blue one and a red one, and she was like, you can get a car. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there trying to decide if I want the blue one or the red one. She was like, get both. I was like, I can get both? She like, yeah. Mind blown. Mind expanded again. It's interesting how that led me later on in life to end up with 4 cars at one time. I was renting them out. But that's another story for another day. But it's interesting how that concept led me there. Even down to the material of clothes, I noticed that the luxury brands were of a better quality. You can tell. And you see the reaction from people with the brand you're wearing. So that was always interesting to me. Of course, luxury cars. At 17, my aunt let me drive her Benz. And just the way it drove, the way it felt, how easy the steering wheel was to turn, it was a difference in quality. So I'm like, yeah, one day I'm gonna get me a Benz. I ended up one of my favorite cars, the G-Wagon. And I'm always chasing that. We actually rented one for a video. And that was amazing, just driving around the city in the G-Wagon. That was dope to me. But now at this age, I'm starting to realize I was attracted to the marketing, to the branding, the advertisement of it all. The created idea of luxury, which is very interesting. You know, some brands can charge a certain price because of the idea in people's minds that it's valuable or that it should be expensive. And that's very interesting. I learned a lot of things about luxury at 17, driving a Mercedes-Benz. The concept of luxury shows you a lot about people. You can see how when you have nice things, it attracts shallow people. I realized how so many more people wanted to hang out. People would hit me up, yo, what's up? We going for a ride? We going out? What's the deal? What's the move? A lot of girls were willing to do a lot more just because of that car. I could see how random strangers were more open to conversation. A lot of people would look at you and smile, give you a head nod, and it became addictive. That's when I knew I had to be careful. I could see how someone would want to build a life or build their persona around having things, especially if you've been deprived of attention. And I can't lie, it did feel good, but I saw it for what it was. I'm just blessed enough to have a mind of my own and be able to see through things, which a lot of people don't have that quality. So a lot of people get caught up. It made me question, do I really like having nice things, or do I like the attention it brings? And for me, it was a little bit of both. But what I didn't like is the emptiness that comes with it. You can tell that the relationships that were being cultivated were shallow. And I really understood that when that car started breaking down. Phone stopped ringing as much. People stopped showing up as much. And just by seeing how fast people switch up, I understood that your life will be meaningless if you build your life around the things you acquire. If that's all you base your worth, your value on, if that's all you're attached to, there's a lack of fulfillment there. I also noticed that there is an upside to having nice things. People listen more. And if you have knowledge, wisdom, understanding, if you have something worth saying, something of substance, then that could be beneficial. Like you can throw on the nice things, pull up in a nice ride, and give people some game. If you actually care about the world, you can share the information. You can share the helpful information. Luxury. We're attracted to all these things. Glamorous lifestyles. We've been shown glamorous lifestyles. And exposure can be a good thing or it can be detrimental, right? Because on the upside, exposure shows you things. Exposure shows you what's possible. It gives you more to reach for. But if you're not careful, you won't know when to stop. It'll be another end. There is always another mountain to climb. And it'll consume you. But we see these rapper lifestyles, these rich and famous lifestyles, glamorous life. And it's attractive because we all want to shine. Especially in our culture, right? We want to shine. Like we want to, yeah, I got it. I'm doing my thing, right? That's become a part of who we are. I definitely got caught up in chasing that. You know, I like shining. I like having nice things. I like looking good. It makes me feel good. But when it really comes down to it, I realize that all I want is to not struggle. All I want is for the people around me not to struggle. I want that freedom to have an emergency or something happen that costs money and I have the money. I have more than enough to cover it. And that's really all I want, for real. Abundance is lovely. And I definitely strive and I definitely work towards that. But I feel like that first step, the first goal is to get out of the scarcity mindset, to get out of survival mode. When I say we want the luxuries in life, the idea of luxury, I'm not just saying nice cars, big houses, designer clothing. I'm also saying the relief of having the bills on auto pay and not having to worry about it. The relief of having something happen to your car and you got the money and you can pay for it and it don't set you back 3 months. We want those type of luxuries as well. The blessed feeling of having somebody need help and calling you. And you're able to help them without it hurting you, without it being a setback for you. The blessing of being able to be a blessing to others. That's what I'm after.